Hey guys, welcome back to the movie summary. Beginning of the movie, we see a family going in a car. In it, a boy named Martin seeing at the beach from a car. The family came here for summer vacation. Martin house is in a good location near the beach. Later he meets his friend Carson. Carson tells him about the beach here. Martin comes home and looks out of the window. Then he see a newly married couple. Their names are Lena and Elliot. Their house is next door to Martin's house. Martin secretly sees Lena. Only then does she see him. Seeing this, Martin gets scared and goes away from the window. Later he takes his bicycle to go outside where Lena appears again. Next he goes to his friend. Then Carson says you can enjoy a lot here this summer. After that he comes home. Just then Martin's father calls him into the house and introduces him to their new neighbor Elliot. Elliot tells Martin that your father told me that you are good at repairing boats. I also have a boat. He asks if you can tell me about its condition. He also says that I will give you the job of maintaining the boat. Next day he goes to check Elliot's boat. Just then Lena swims and comes out. Then she takes a shower there. Martin looks at her excitedly. Just then Elliot comes there and asks what happened, did you check the boat? Then Martin mentions the condition of the boat and says it needs a little work. Elliot offers Martin a job at $14 an hour. That night, Martin watches Lena change her dress from the window. Just then Elliot comes there and forcefully spent time with her. Seeing this, Martin feels sorry for her. Next day Elliot and Martin are in the boat. Then Martin asks, how do you maintain boats and businesses? Elliot says that if you have money and beauty you can do anything. After Martin comes home, he sees Lena from the window again. She goes out. After a while Martin hears her screams. Immediately he runs to her. There is a spider in her car. Martin kills it and sets off the vipers. Then Lena comes close to turn off the car engine and excites Martin. Then he goes to his friend. Carson tells Martin to be careful with Elliot. Martin comes out after finishing his work in the boat. Lena is sitting there. Then Lena's house accidentally gets locked. Elliot is not even there to pick the lock. So she asks Martin for help. It will rain. They come home in the rain. Martin breaks the window glass with a rock. Then he goes inside and opens the door. Later she comes into the house and offers Martin a drink. He gets a minor injury while breaking the window. Lena gives first aid to the wound. Martin can't control looking at Lena and kisses her. He will say sorry immediately. But Lena also likes Martin. So she doesn't say anything to him. Then they both enjoy the whole night on the bed. Morning, she asks if you've done this with anyone before. He then lied, that this is the third time I have done this. Then he goes home and is happy about what happened yesterday. Then he meets his friend. Then Carson tells, I called you last night and I heard the sounds of both of you. After that he shows some girls to Martin and says spend time with them. Later, Martin watches Lena while he is working. One day when Martin is working, Lena comes in and tells him that Elliot sent her to see how the work is going. Then again they both go into the boat and make private time together. While night Martin is working at the bar, Lena comes to the bar with her husband. Carson shows Martin some pretty girls. But Martin has no interest in them. Next day Elliot is in the car. Martin sees Lena going into the store and he also goes inside the store. Later they both go to the back of the store and spend private time again. Elliot enters the store when Lena is gone for a long time. Seeing him, Lena kisses Martin and goes to Elliot. After a while Elliot walks over to the boat to see how the work is doing. He was not satisfied with Martin's work. Elliot tells Martin that I am going out on a work, do the work well before I come. Martin thinks this is a good time. Martin enjoys with Lena very much on the bed. Then Lena gives him a phone as a gift and says we can talk over phone. Later, Gardner sees them having private time in the kitchen. Next day Martin comes near the boat. Elliot and Lena will be there. Elliot tells him to drive the boat. Then the engine will fail. Then Elliot goes to see it. Lena comes to Martin and says I want to give divers to Elliot. Night Lena calls Martin and tells him that Elliot is out on a business trip. Next day Lena sends her photo to Martin and calls him. Moreover, she tells him to come near her now. Then again they go into the boat and have private time together. Next day Lena calls Martin again and asks him to come home immediately. Lena tells Martin that me and Elliot had a big fight. I accidentally hit him on the head, then he dies. And says that please help me out of this case. Then Martin says behave like normal. Then he works in a bar and goes home. There will be Lena. Later they both plan what to do with Elliot's body. Then they want to take Elliot's body to the boat and make it look like he died in some accident. Later, Martin takes Elliot's body into the boat. Just then a police officer notices Martin. But the policeman thinks he is Elliot. Martin also acts like Elliot. He then pours petrol on the boat and sets it on fire. Now the whole situation will be normal. But a lady goes to the police and says that Elliot has a large amount of insurance. All his insurance belongs to Lena. Therefore, this case should be investigated very seriously and properly. The lady goes to Lena and investigates the incident. She asks Lena if she is having an affair with anyone. To that Lena says no. On the other hand, the police are also investigating the case. Just then the security guard came there and says, "That night I saw a man. I thought he was Elliot." Police will also investigate Martin's parents. The lady officer sees the broken window glass near Elliot's house. Later the lady also goes to Martin's friend. Then he says that Martin has an acquaintance with a girl, but I don't know who that girl is. Later, the police will investigate Martin. Then his mother says don't involve my son in this case. While Martin is at work, Lena sends a message to Martin to meet her in the garage. There they talk that we should stay away for a few days. Officers will be at Martin's home when he arrives. They take Martin's saliva and blood samples. After they leave, Martin tells his parents and friend what happened. Later Martin goes to meet Lena again. There Lena tears her clothes and screams, "Leave me alone." Just then the police come there and arrest Martin. Then Martin says, "Give me one chance, I will prove myself innocent." Then he brings his phone and shows it to the insurance officer and says that it is not my fault but Lena's fault. Then the officer says this phone is not big proof, show other proofs. Later, as the lady is carrying Lena, Martin sees their legs. They have the same tattoos on their legs. Then he realizes that the insurance officer and Lena have played this drama to get the Elliot insurance money. Later Lena leaves her phone there. Because the police knew that Martin was innocent. Later they both run away to another country. The police arrest Martin and then release him as they find him innocent. This movie ends like this.